Hello, here you are. It's Tessa-Marie, and welcome to the Tessa-Marie Show. I hope you are going to enjoy the show this evening, and it's going to be entertaining, interesting, lots of fun. So let's see what we can do with it. I am Tessa-Marie, and tonight we are going to talk about the Emerald Isle, Dominica, the Emerald Island. The reason why I'm talking about it is many people have been asking me, where are you from? What part of the islands are you? Are you from Jamaica? And I'm not from Jamaica. And that got me in trouble once, a long time ago. Hello, everybody. So that got me in trouble once, a long time ago. So I thought I would clear it up tonight and let you know a little bit about it. So yes, I am from the island of Dominica. That is where I was born and raised. And Dominica is called the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean. And it existed before Christopher Columbus. But Christopher Columbus discovered it on November 3rd, 1493, which was a Sunday. When Columbus came to the shores, he met the indigenous people of Dominica, and they are the Caribbeans. So the Caribbeans of Dominica already had a name given to the island, and the name they gave it in their language was Waiti Kubuli, meaning in their language, tall is her body, because Dominica has such grand mountains and it's that long island and it has a slight curve. So he was just so, the natives of that time called it that. But Columbus named the island Dominica after the date was discovered, which in Spanish is Domingo. As you know, Columbus' voyages funded by Queen Isabel and Ferdinand of Spain is what took him he's looking for the east, and he didn't know where he was going. He went west. He had 3 ships in his convoy. They were the Pinta, Nina, and the Santa Maria. Ferdinand and Isabella gave him the money for him to build the ships, and he took it. So Dominica, of course, changed hands between the French, the Spanish, and the English many times. And finally, in 1761, during the 7-Year War, Dominica was taken by the English. The language spoken in Dominica is English and French Creole. Similar, it's the same as in St. Lucia, New Orleans, and Haiti. And you wonder how these people could have learned this language when they had no way of communication. But the communication was through the drums. The drum beat and the trade winds took the signals to the island, and these were what the slaves did. Creole, as we call it, is a combination of French and English. So the English people didn't know what they were saying, neither did the French. So they took it together. It's very much like French. So anyway, so part of Elizabeth I Navy during those days were 3 men, Francis Drake, John Hawkins, and Walter Raleigh. They were all Sir in their name after. They were knighted by her. So the Spanish called Francis Drake a dog. So therefore, you've heard their name, they call them the Sea Dogs, the English Sea Dogs. But it was not a name of power. It was a derogatory name given to them by the Spaniards because they were fighting so fiercely. So because of their furious attacks on the Spaniards, they called them that. So they were famous for fighting the French, the Spaniards, and of course, they went through the Caribbean and even parts of Europe. The Sea Dogs were known for that. The English Navy was ferocious. They traded in slavery and everything. So that was what these islands were like. There are many interesting stories about them, about the Sea Dogs. And there's a tale about one of them. His name was Rodney. And they said in one of the battles they were fighting in Dominica of the shores of the Caribbean side, they were fighting against the French. So Rodney saw a rock jutting out of Dominica. He sent his sailor, he took the lights off his ship, off the lanterns. They rowed into the harbor on that rock, and they set lanterns on the rock like it would have looked on a ship. And the French decided that was the ship. They rowed back out into the ocean in the dark of night. They couldn't be seen. And the French bombed the rock, thinking they were bombing the British, and the British was behind them bombing them. So to this day, it's called Rodney's Rock in Dominica. It's quite fascinating. The Pirates of the Caribbean was also filmed. One of them was filmed in Dominica. But that was on the East Coast against the angry Atlantic Ocean. So today, Dominica has a population of 71 to 72,000 people. It is 305 square miles. It's not a big island, but it is the third largest in the Caribbean. You don't hear about it. You have Jamaica, the largest, Trinidad, and then Dominica. All the other islands are smaller than Dominica. But because they're flat, tourism can be burned. They can have a big airport and people can just get in and get out. It's the third largest in the British West Indies. So it has the calm Caribbean Sea on one side and the angry Atlantic Ocean on the coast. It's very difficult for it to get a hurricane hit because of the mountains. But when it comes in from the seaside, it's very difficult to go out. So it will blast the island north and east, north and south forever until it wears itself out. So it's quite devastating because it's difficult to get in because of the mountains. And if it comes in on the Atlantic or the Caribbean Sea, it comes in through there. It has to go out the same way. So when it comes, it devastates the island. The island is extremely mountainous. The tallest of its mountain is called Mont Diablotin. You will notice a lot of the words I'll be saying will be French because of the French history. Some Spanish because of the Spanish history. So Mont Diablotin is 4,474 feet tall. And in Dominica now is a typical, is a typical island, a typical tropical island. That means you can get rain and sun in 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. You can have rain now, the sun comes out, it goes like that. It lies 16 degrees north of the equator and 23 degrees west. So that means it's hot. Dominica has the second largest sulfur boiling lake in the world. So we go there for therapeutic baths. We have, there's different levels of heat, and it's all sulfur springs. And if you pop an egg in one of the holes, it comes out in the other, somewhere around there, all boiled already, hard boiled. So it's fascinating. Dominica has a lot of these type of things happening. The springs are of various temperatures, depending how far from the boiling lake it is. It's actually a lake that boils. And it's boiled, and the sulfur fumes, you can smell it. Since Dominica is volcanic in formation, that is how it was formed, Dominica also has 9 volcanoes. 9 live volcanoes. Now, live doesn't mean they're active. There's a difference. People don't understand that. An active volcano is one that is spewing ash and lava. A live volcano is there. It's not dormant, it's not extinct, it's there, and chances are it can erupt. So that's how it is. The largest concentration of volcanoes in a country per capita, like per unit size. So the size of the country, to have 9 volcanoes per unit size, it's the largest in the world for that. Live, okay, I explained live, when a volcano is not spewing ash and lava, it can be live. When it erupts, it's doing that. Now the waters of Dominica are crystal clear. It is absolutely so crystal. Coming from the airport, there's rivers, and you can see the fish in that river. Going to Dominica, we have to we'll talk about that. But I always have my bathing suit on. So soon as we get off the airport, we jump in the river. We go to the river. Family will be on the river waiting they're coming to get you, but they're going swimming and in the river. And while you're in the river, you'll see the river crabs, and the meat is so delicious. It's actually sweet. So they have the red ones and the bright yellow crabs, like your sea crabs, but huge. So Dominica has several freshwater lakes, several. The most common and known one is the Brewery Lake, and it's one of the largest ones. So Dominica now is an ecotourism plus place. You have to have legs. You have to be wanting to do things to go to Dominica. You're not going to be lying on the beach and have a cabana man coming serving you a drink on you. You can, but who would want to do that? When you look at these mountains and the greenery, although now it's you get more of a regular type of tourism, but not often because there's not that many places to lie in suntan. The island has several large waterfalls. The most popular one is Trafalgar Falls. The reason for that is because it is easily accessible from the city. There's Victoria's Falls is much bigger. There are several other falls, and they're amazing. And because of that, Dominica's electricity is hydropowered because of the amount of waters it has. It has a huge marine life, huge, which makes deep sea and diving and scuba diving and all these things is one of the best in the world. The coral reef is really nice. It also have a marine reserve. A marine reserve is where the World Organization decides people shouldn't destroy them. Because we had people coming across to go in there and they would take the fish to put in their tanks at home. So, and it is also voted number 10 in the best places in the world to visit. Why? Because there's so much of the fauna and the flora to see, so much life. It is also home to the Caesar parrot. It's actually beautiful. I pictured it on this thing this morning. It can be trained, and right now it's an endangered species because people won't hunt them and take them. It's so beautiful. It's colorful. To see the flora and the fauna of Dominica will actually take your breath away. They say you should see Paris and die. Well, if you see Dominica, you'll want to live, and that's the truth. You're able to hike up through the mountains. It has one of the longest hiking trail through the rainforest. It's 115 miles of hiking. It goes through the rainforest and the mist comes in and the mist goes out. And it's one of the biggest in the Caribbean. So it is called Waikiki Kubuli because of the name of the indigenous people give to the island. So as I told you, Columbus changed the name, or whoever they were. Well, he did because he named it after the day Sunday, which is Dominica, meaning Domingo. So you can do a lot of canoeing in Dominica, kayaking, mountain climbing, of course. Its main industry is agriculture and fishing. You fish there to die. So most of your meals, if you like fish, will be that. You're allowed to you can get all of these other foods, but the fish is just so nice and always fresh, and the fisherman comes in, and it's really good. Dominica is the only one of the few countries in the world, if there is another, with a river running through the city that is clean. It runs from the Trafalgar Falls all the way through the city. Now, where it's running was not its original path. When they wanted to create it, the city, they decide they're going to change the path. Well, voila. When there is bad weather, it goes right down Market Street. It goes back to its original course. Nature is amazing, and it shows you that more. So if you have questions tonight, put your questions in the question box and I will answer them when I put my glasses on. That is important. So please do that for me. So the other thing about Dominica is that the name of Roseau, which is the capital city, that's what it was named, again, by the indigenous people. We'll talk about them in a bit. Roseau is the name of the city. Roseau, not spelled like the Roseau you hear in Canada. The name came from the reed that was growing on the sides. The reed that they make baskets of, it's called the Roseau reed. And it grew on the banks of the river. And the river ran directly to the sea. So the native people of Dominica, the Caribbean Indians, which are very familiar in features to the North American Indians, if you saw them, you could cut the heads and put on the others. So when the Spanish, the English, and the French came, they met these people living a life on the banks of the Roseau River fishing in the Caribbean Sea. Fishing was their main source of income and livelihood. That's how they ate. And they sold their wares from the rigs. Typical. What they did, they quickly took away their land from them. And they moved them to the east coast of the island. Now, the Caribbean Sea is on the west coast. And the Caribbean is like a sheet of glass, unless there's a storm. It's blue, it's calm, you can see through it. You know, if you've been on a trip and you go to the Caribbean side of the oceans, of the seas, you'll see that. But what those people did, like they did everywhere else they went, they moved these native people up to the east coast of the island, facing the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean, you saw it in the Pirates of the Caribbean, it's raging. That wasn't made up. It's raging. It actually throws boulders at you. You go into there, you're going to die. People that come to Dominica to visit, and they come from sometimes from Sweden and stuff, and they're coming to visit family, they meet friends or marry somebody. They go swimming. Why would you look at this raging body of water that has boulders this big coming at you? It comes in the waves, it just sends it out. And of course they get killed. But that's where the British said, I'm going to take your land and I'm going to put you on a reserve. Just like they did here. Sounds familiar to you? That's the same thing they did here, right? So they put them on the reserve. They cannot fish in this water. They cannot, so they had to adapt. They had to try to find other ways of making a living. They introduced them to stuff like they did here. Alcohol to fix them, same way. And then they just didn't give them a chance. They didn't give them a chance. They put them on this reservation. And I know it sounds familiar to you. So as of now, Dominica has the largest reservation of the Caribbeans in the world. So then here comes Queen Victoria, and she passes a decree. I don't think she, like India, she's never been there either. And she said, this is territorial lands, I'm giving it to you. It's a reservation. Up in the East Coast, they come from the west side of the Caribbean. It's like she was bestowing on them something amazing. It wasn't hers to give. So there they are, and now they still are the original people of the island, and their breed is still pure. They didn't mix too much, so their bloodstream, the DNA remained the same. So they placed them on this reservation and they left them there. So Queen Victoria decided, I will give you territorial land given by her and put them there because we took your land in the city. And so that's what happened to them. The thing about Dominica, though, it has almost no crimes. The crime rate is really not seen, very seldom. And then today, Dominica is an independent country. It gained its independence from England on November 3rd, 1978. So it has a president elected by the members of parliament. The prime minister is elected, so they have a president. Then they have a prime minister who's the head, actually, and he's elected by the people. So Dominica, because of the British thing, it remains part of the British Commonwealth of Nations. So in other words, it's a country where there was Britain, they were colonies one, just like Canada. So when you hear the Commonwealth, Dominica is one of these islands or countries belonging to the Commonwealth of Nations. And you know, a little bit of history people don't know much about. England had its footprint, its terror, its hand in every continent and country it could find in the world. There was a time when the sun actually never set on what was called the British Empire. Never set. From Africa through India and then, west and east in all directions. During World War I, my mom used to sing a song, the early days of World War II, and she would say, Russia has the money, but England has the men. Where were these men coming from? All the colonies. That is World War One, yeah. So that's what she told us, and they would sing the song, and she sang it as a young girl, and you would hear her singing it often. Oh, England, Russia has the money, but England has the men, the Union Jack over Britain or something like that. So Dominica, of course, was one of those. So my uncle, her brother, went to war, Second World War, and he was never the same. I knew him, and then my mom said that was not uncle. He looked like a giant. He was really tall and skinny, but it changed him, what he saw. He ended up of course, in Africa anyway, and in Egypt, and what they had to do for survival is unmentionable. So Dominica does not have an international airport because of the mountainous terrain. It is said the plans are being designed to build one international, and they have to move mountains literally, figuratively, and every other way they can. A smaller airplane will take you from another island, most likely a 36-seater, and bring you into the island. And when you're flying in, you're in awe. The ridges of the mountains and the greenery and the rivers. And Dominica has 365 rivers flowing through it. 365 rivers. One for every day of the year. Some of the basins are huge, and where you jump into them. I remember I'd hurt my back on doing that, and my mom sent one of the ladies she had with her, took me to one of the falls, and she just got me to stand underneath the falls and let the water hit my back, and she was holding my hip so that, but anyway, I got better. I strained my back jumping into a basin, and I could hardly walk. And they took me there a few times, and I had to bend, let the falls hit my back, bend this way. Anyway, it straightened me out. Yeah, I am. So that's part of the history of Dominica. And it's a really different island. The people are extremely friendly. Cruise ships stop there. It is said that Oprah went there on her yacht once, and she was ignored. They didn't care. Okay, so you're here, that's fine. They kept walking like nobody cared about her. And not that she hated it, she actually said something about it. I heard, I don't know. So the national dish of Dominica, you would never guess. It's mountain chicken. And you wouldn't know what that is, would you? It's frog legs, what you pay $1 million for here. So frog legs, and they call. Because of the popularity of it now and the population, they have a certain time of the year you can hunt them. And you can hear them calling. We would hear them calling when we were up in the mountains at my parents' plantation, 3,700 feet above sea level. You would hear the frogs calling, and they would know that's the time to go hunting. So the government had to put rules about that, otherwise they would hunt them to extinction. They did that also with the land crabs, the sweet crabs. They're big, just like a crab, but huge. And they have claws and everything. And there you can find them. When the rain falls, the red ones come out of the soil. And then the yellow ones, you'll see them on the banks of the river because they live in the river. So their shell is yellow, not getting as much sun. But they're all very tasty. So that's it. And of course, when you get a bottle of Rosie's lime cordial and you put it in your drink, you have to remember the limes were from Dominica. But they put on it the product of London. Where in London can you grow limes? I want somebody to tell me. But anyway, plunder. So that's one of the things that Dominica had to go through. The thing about this island is that because of its size and the difficulty to get to it, they don't get the name, the name recognition. So that's when the man told me where I was from, and I told him I was from Dominica. He said he didn't know, and I said it was in Russia, and I walked away. And years later, met me, he said to me, "You lied to me the first time. Why did you lie to me?" So that's my mischievous part coming out. If you're from the islands and you don't know where Dominica is, why should I tell you? So anyway, that was my idea. So this is a little bit about Dominica. Beside the rivers and the lakes and the forest and the animals, we do have something we have mongoose. No poisonous snakes are in Dominica. We have no poisonous snake. It's Eden on earth. No poisonous snakes. There's mongoose and agouti, which looks like a huge. They're at the around dusk. If you went down to the lower part of the plantation, you see them walking under the trees. They're thin-legged and high, tall. And once I was down, then I went to watch the sunset as it was coming through, because I went down to the bottom of the plantation and I'm coming back up. And my dad said to me, "What happened? And no mongoose bothered you, no agouti bothered you?" I said, "I saw them and I just stayed really quiet." And he said, "No, you would be disturbing them more than they would disturb you." So on there, the plantation, they grow coffee, passion fruit, grapefruit and oranges, different types of oranges, the pink grapefruits. My mother we used to use the skin of the thick grapefruits and make a candy. And oh God, I didn't learn how to make it, so my cousin, but I don't know how to make that. And everything is there, and the coffee. So because it's cool in the mountains, when you leave Dominica Rosso, it's hot, it's like 85 degrees. And when you take the winding road to go up to Jordel, where the plantation is, as soon as you take the first turn, you can feel the difference in the temperature. It's cool. So at 6 p.m. at night, you need a sweater. Hence, they drink a lot of coffee up there. They make it, the coffee, they grow it, they do everything, that whole village area. And then they, and in the morning, it's also chillier. And so and you can look up and you can see the mist coming in the morning. And there are trees they have that the underneath part is white and it flips over when it gets the sun. Anyway, so it's a lot of wonderful things on that island, and I just wanted to let everybody know that's where Dominica is. And if you ever get a chance to go there and you want a vacation where you want to do things and eat some fascinating foods and cakes and breads and the thing they do with stuff you would never believe. And most of what we eat comes from the ground. So we have, they call it ground provisions. Of course, we eat bananas and different types of things that look like bananas, plantains and other ones, I forgot. I know the French words, I don't know the English version of them. And then they have like dasheen and tanyas and edos and all sorts of berries and cherries and wild things that you can just pick. And although every country has poor people, of course, when you come from the Caribbean, everybody thinks you were born with no clothes and no shoes and you never got any until you came to North America or one of those countries. But that's not quite true. So in Dominica, though, you might look with your camera and you go by and you say, "Oh, there's a little shack," and you take a picture to show your friend. But what you must remember, your grand house you live in Canada, you don't own the land. You haven't paid for it. But this shack, that land has passed down for generations. So it might look like a little house to you, but the land belongs to them. And the house maybe is all paid for. So we judge the books by the cover. But in Dominica, you will see the same thing we have here, the upper class, the lower class, whatever you want. But these people, they know how to fish. There is nobody starving in Dominica. Actually, if somebody chooses to beg, then nobody can help them. Because you will always have something to eat. The Caribbean Sea is just laden with fish. You can fish in the river. You get the crawfish in the river. You get escargot on the stones in the river. You will not, if you starve, it's your fault. The water is free to drink. And in Dominica, you have all different kinds of birds. So your choice is yours. So that's what Dominica is like. So I'll see if you guys give me questions and I'll answer them. Oh, and pilau, no sure. Pilau is not actually a dish of Dominica. Pilau is the Spanish influence of the paella that you make. So it's with chicken and the rice and the fragrance and the aroma is intoxicating. Oh, this here is the traditional dress of the Dominica. That's our traditional dress. So it's made with fabric. It's very colorful, lots of jewelry, and the head tie is just famous. So you see they have Dominica here. And I have them framed in around the house. And it's really beautiful. So these are our traditional dress from the island. And it's really a beautiful thing to see. So yes, bakes and Accra. We do bakes and Accra too in Dominica. That's true. We have that. And we have pilau. And we do bakes, and we do Accra, and we do stuff with saltfish. We don't do some of the things that's very popular in North America is not from all of the islands. Each island is distinct. The most tour-like islands you'll find is Dominica and St. Lucia. We speak and we understand each other. We speak the languages, the Creole, the same. And we have a more joyful attitude about things. So that's a little bit about Dominica. Let me see my questions. So the island is very Spanish influenced and English with French. Yes, the island has a lot of Spanish influence in some of the things, more so since Spain came first. And you know what the English attitude is. They're more dominant, they poo-poo the language of the other countries. It is divide and conquer. So they would tell you French was not the best thing to learn, or Spanish, so that went away a little bit. Where do you fly into when you went to the airport? You can go to St. Lucia, Antigua, Barbados, any of the islands with an international airport. And then you take a smaller plane into Dominica. And that's what it is. The capital of Dominica is Roseau. And it's named after the reeds that were growing on the banks of the Roseau River. So that's, what about your parents' plantation? Talk about that. I can't talk about that. I'll be talking for days. My father's family are the plantation people. My mother came from a village called Jourdel, and the flowers grow there because it's cool. That's where they have part of their plantation, and that's where, you know, we spend a lot of time. It's beautiful there. And that's where the coffee is grown, and flowers, and then my father's father had those other places that just passed on to family. So we'll talk about that another time. That will take us into midnight. The Shillingfords of Dominica are known. Many times somebody will meet you and you'll ask, what's your name? I say, I'm Tessa-Marie Shillingford. Oh, you're the Shillingfords of Dominica. It's like, okay. and that's, you don't need to say too much more, but that's what happened. So the Shillingfords themselves were money lenders at a time, so hence my desire, my joy for money lending. Not in Dominica, the ancestry going back to England. We're not going to go there right now. But anyway, so that's more or less what it was, what it's like. Any more questions about Dominica back there? What about there? The capital city is Roseau, I told you that. We have the second city, Portsmouth, and that is on the west coast, northwest coast of Dominica. That's Portsmouth. And that's there they have the Cabarets, which is a Fort Shirley, again, in the time of all their wars, and it's very beautiful. They have built, Kempinski has built a big hotel there. It's quite a sight to see. Very expensive, but beautiful. And then there's another one called, I can't remember, another one coming up. When we go, if there's too many of us, we stay at the Fort Young Hotel, which is in the city. It's actually a fort, and they turned it into a hotel. It's quite lovely. It doesn't have access to the beach because it's a fort, so it stands above. And so, but Dominica is beautiful. We have lots of bubbling in the water because of the volcanoes. So at Soufrière, which is the south end of the island, we have the Champagne Beach. So while you're there, you're in the sea, you'll notice on the Caribbean Sea some bubbles coming up out of the water. It's quite a sight to see, and you can feel a little tickle. So at that point of the island, the Atlantic and the Caribbean meets. So you're standing, and it's not a wide spot, maybe a little wider, as wide as the kitchen. And you can walk from there to the Caribbean side and there to the angry Atlantic. And in the middle, the water does not even move. When they meet, something happens, and it's just quite amazing. So that's more or less all about Dominica. Besides the mountain, it's predominantly Roman Catholic in religion. Other religions have since come in, and that, of course, is a Spanish and French influence. They do have the Protestant churches like the Anglican, the Methodist, and then all of the born-agains are there now because the world opened, everybody came in. But it's predominantly Roman Catholic. It's sunny, it's warm, it rains, it dries. And when my young nephew went to Dominica, it was raining, and he came from Canada. He ran out into the rain. It's warm rain, it's hot rain. He had never experienced hot rain. And so these are the kind of experiences you have, and looking at the beautiful flowers. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And I hope it answers all your questions. If you have any questions, DM me. And no, when I say I'm from Siberia, you know I'm not from Siberia. So I hope it answers your question. And I really enjoy telling you a little bit about the Emerald Island of the Caribbean, which is the island of Dominica. It's as green as a piece of emerald. So thank you so much. Hi, Shilly Dilly. What did you think? Put a statement in there. What did you think of our talk, Debbie? I'm glad you liked it, Debbie. Thank you for doing that. Champagne Beach. Yes, Donato. So thank you, Debbie, Donato. Who else was here tonight? Shilly, I don't know. There's still 6 of you that I can't see. Can I go back? You know how good I am with this thing, right? Oh yeah, I found I can play. So Donato was here. Slim Dog, thank you for coming. I know who that is. I'm not going to mention names. I know who that is. Rai joined. Congratulations, Rai. Yoko, Slim Dog, I am on tonight, Brother Eric. I know it was you, Slim, Brother Slims. Yeah. Thank you. Slim Dog is my brother. His name is Eric and his brother Slims. Hi, Belinda. Thank you for coming in. Donato, Shama, and Ankit Shama. Thanks for coming in. Donato had lots of questions. I didn't know the Pirates of the... Yeah, one movie was seen there. What about Barbados? No. Barbados is bigger. Yeah! No way, Jose. Barbados is not bigger. No way. Don't go there. They're tiny. You can go through Barbados by walking. Come on. Hi, Rosie. Hi, son. Dominica is the 3rd largest island. Jamaica, Trinidad, Dominica. No! Barbados doesn't even have fresh water. They buy water from Dominica. Don't go there. Don't get me started. You will, son. Dominica, does it have dormant? No. They're all live volcanoes. And they have a dormant volcano doesn't mean it's dead. Extinct means it's dead. So that means it can still erupt. When was the last time one erupted? I don't know. They rumble now and again. You can hear the rumbling. I know there was one in 1812. I don't know. I can't remember too much. Yes, you land. When you get on the plane to go to Dominica, that time you have between flights, bathing suit goes on. You put something over it. As soon as we clear the airport, we stop. And the rivers, go into those rivers on the way. We're driving through the forest. Well, it's a road, but we're driving through the rainforest. So to get from there to to go down to the city. You can book your flight. What would I want to serve? Manja. You'll have food. You'll have to eat ground provisions, and they're tasty and they're well done. The things they can do with tanias and eddos and breadfruits and all of that. So book your flight. What about no? What do you miss most about the island? What I miss about the island, the water. I love the beach. I love the sea. I love being in the sea. Because our house in the city, our backyard was the beach. And my father built, he was in charge of construction, so he had this 18 or 2 feet wide wall where there was stone, so the sea wouldn't come in when there was a storm, or like a brick wall. So I swam every day in the ocean, every day. We were all there, and Sundays after mass, you would be there until you were hungry, and then you would come out and go eat, and then get rinsed from the salt, and that's it. So lots of time in the ocean. Then if we went to visit family, again we were in the ocean. The Atlantic is a horrible little place. It's just the vodka and 7, please. No. You're going to have a rum punch. You know, the Shillingford Plantation rum punch, Makushri, Bois Bade. Well, I'll tell you about Bois Bade, what it means one day. Bois for wood, Bade means tight. So Barbados is 160 square meters. Well, you figured it out? Oh, I see. You got it, eh? Thank you, Slim Dog, for that information. Donato, here you go. It's 305 square miles, Master Slims. That is how the people, the helpers used to call him Master Slim. Dominica is beautiful. Oh, Debbie is a Dominican guy. She's not. Debbie went to Dominica with us in 2008. We had a reunion in Dominica, and Debbie was there. Even the people in the marketplace knew Debbie. Debbie she used to leave and go to the marketplace to get breakfast from the ladies. They knew her. They knew her so well. So it was just amazing. She loves Dominica. What's with the French loving frogs? It's mountain chicken frogs. It just, you guys pay like hundreds of dollars for it here. We hunt it and we cook it and it's delicious. No snakes, no bad snakes. There's grass snakes on the plantation, and my brothers used to chase the helpers, the girls that worked in the house with it. Mongoose and agouti, yes. Did you mention the Salt River? I'm not sure if it's what you call it. Well, yeah, but it's there. Pink grapefruit is nice. Not there. You wave, okay. No pilau. I told you about pilau. So that's it, guys. Did you mention Salt River? You can ask me for Salt River. No, I didn't mention Salt River, but you can find it when I'll take you there one of these days. Let's arrange a group trip. You guys would never come back. No, Debbie, I forgot to mention Salt River. You can fill Donato in. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Amazing note. I always wanted to try the islands. You'll enjoy it. So talk to you guys later. And I'm so happy, everybody. And even Brother Slim Skim. That's such a pleasure. So each and every one of you, I'll see you tomorrow morning. And let's see what we can talk about. So have a wonderful evening. And thank you for dropping in. Bye-bye.